Tony begins with a quote by Anthony Bourdain, which reads, "I was a spoiled, miserable, narcissistic, self-destructive, and thoughtless young lout, badly in need of an ass-kicking." It's a good quote. It's an excellent examification of what Tony is. Tony is played by Dominic Sessa extremely well. There's a question that's raised throughout the film that is, how unlikable can your protagonist be before the audience turns on him? In truth, Anthony Bourdain in this film is quite an asshole for a good portion of the running time. It's actually surprising how long it takes for him to actually learn his moral lesson by the end of the film. Ultimately, you do come away from the movie feeling positively about him. Even though his journey as a person isn't over, you can see that he's finally on the right track. Matt Johnson is a fantastic filmmaker, and he has yet to make a bad movie, including this one. Although I find his directing style to be unremarkable. He's very documentarian, and the shot composition of the film leaves a lot to be desired. At one point during the emotional climax of the movie, I genuinely thought that the main character might have been behind a green screen. Although with how the movie was made, it seems kind of doubtful that there was a green screen in that scene. It just seems like it was very poorly framed, and the lighting just didn't match the rest of the scene. Either way, it was noticeable. There were times when the camera would just hold on a single shot, and it didn't feel particularly purposeful. It just felt like they just didn't have the necessary amount of coverage for that scene. With that said, that is not Matt Johnson's strength as a filmmaker. His strength is with characters and writing, and this is where Tony succeeds. Along with Dominic, Antonio Banderas gives a great performance. His character almost seems like he's in another world, the way he's just talking to him. He always seems a little spaced out from reality, which is very intentional. We also really get to know the ins and outs of the dynamic of the kitchen where Tony is working. Everyone has a very specific personality, and they all play off each other very well. Stavros is used perfectly, and he's in the movie just enough before he would potentially get annoying doing his shtick. It's a very interesting take on a biopic in that really you can go into the movie knowing nothing about Anthony Bourdain, or even that it's based on a true story, and you would still enjoy it. It's really a character study about this guy in a very particular moment in his life. Even the food, which you'd think would be front and center, takes a backseat to just getting to know Tony. It also helps that he's not a prodigy. He's not just like an expert cook. He's okay, but at no point does anyone ever remark that he's particularly skillful. He's just a regular guy, basically. He doesn't even want to be a chef, he wants to be a writer. And he's also not particularly good at writing either, at least he can't even work up the courage to write. The pacing is very strong. I felt very similarly to Blackberry, where the movie is always moving. And so even though it's a little plotless, you never feel bored. Perhaps Tony's unlikability is on purpose. They are trying to represent what a guy in his early 20s at that time in history would be like. A guy who desperately needs some ass kicking. I can't say I was a particularly huge fan of Anthony Bourdain. I didn't hate him or anything. I just didn't really know a lot about him except for his tragic life. But this movie succeeds in what a biopic should aim to do, which is make you want to just immediately just research Anthony Bourdain as much as possible right after seeing the movie. Overall, I had a really great experience with this film. I would definitely recommend everyone check it out. And I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10.